Hi, and welcome to the Astrology Intuition Podcast with Amy Lynn. We're here today to talk about the full moon in Cancer. It's January 3rd, 2026, which I have to get used to saying. My podcast comes out on the new moon and the full moon to give us just an idea of the energies happening around these lunations. When we have astrology, it's sort of like brought to earth through the strength of these specific new moon and full moon energies. It's like a time that we really especially feel the astrology energetics. So that is why I do these podcast episodes with the new and the full moon to kind of bring it home. I'm also committing this year to being more energetically oriented for you. I'm trying to pull back less of the astrology jargon so that you can really kind of just feel the themes and the emotions and the feelings that are coming up with the energies. And then I have other places where you can go deeper with me to learn the astrological details if that is what you're into. Speaking of which, I'm super excited to tell you about a free 2026 preview full experience that I have for you. I will put the link in the show notes. You just have to send me your email and it will take you into my new platform that I have set up for you. So it's a place that it will live and you can come back to the whole year because the guide is something that has, I think, something in it each time you come back to it. So the experience itself has a video where I talk through the months, like the energies of each month of the whole year. It has a tarot card pull where I have a card for each month, which, oh my gosh, I did the pull live during my I did an in-person 2026 energy preview, and I did the tarot pull live with that group, and it was just the precision of the cards and the monthly energies. It's just amazing how that lines up. Every time it amazes me. I also put so much time and love and energy into making you a PDF, like a downloadable, printable guide. It takes you month by month through the year. This is all totally free. Um, I have a guided meditation for you in there. I'm trying to think about it. So it's really there's a ton of information. And I love this is how I like to use the end of the Capricorn season, which we still have a couple more weeks of. I like to use it to really kind of map out the year, to look ahead at what are going to be the energetic themes. It just helps me, you know, I'm intuitive, right? And you're all intuitive too. But when you kind of like have the feeling of like, I want to take a trip, or I think I'm going to make this shift in my work or something like that. And then you can match up the feeling of that with the actual energetic months of time and like what's happening. It brings you into so much more alignment. It makes things smoother. It just helps the energy flow. So I hope that this guide will be helpful for you. I'm also going to be offering this year, rather than teaching at my school like I've done in the past, this year everything's going to be an online platform with an additional tier to do some live work with me. So the base platform it's called Here and Now, and it's a monthly energy forecast that you get. It's $22 for your first month. And then after that, it's $44 a month, and it just happens like a subscription. You can cancel anytime. It will have the same lineup. It will have a video fully talking you through week by week the energies. And then it will have a tarot card pull for the weeks with one overarching card for the month. There will be a guided meditation to help align you with the energies. I'm sure I'll put in some other little goodies. And then there's also the PDF guide that you get for the month ahead. So the January program will be coming out this weekend, and you can buy it in the link when you go to find the 2026 preview. You can get that for free always, but on that same platform, there's the option to buy the Here and Now subscription or membership. So I would love to answer questions about that if you have them. It's so awesome. Do the 2026 experience first and just see how that feels, because this is like going way deeper on the energies of each month to help you really align. Like my goal is always helping you clear whatever emotions or experiences in your life or stressors or triggers that are keeping your nervous system in a state where you cannot be receptive to just being in flow with your own energy frequency and your intuition. So that's why I have this set up for you. I'm really excited about it. But for now, let's move into the energies of this full moon. I'm gonna actually, hi Instagram friends. I'm gonna show you. Let's see if I can hold this. Podcast friends, I'm always recording my podcast live in one take, and I'm oftentimes doing that with Instagram friends also live with me. So I'm getting the screen set up to show the chart. Even if you don't know astrology, the chart gives you a really strong feel of what's happening. I mean, when you see it, if you're listening on a podcast player and you're not seeing this later, there's just a really strong oppositional red, a bunch of red lines going across this chart, giving us this tension or this pull or this, in the positive terms, it's really a strong alignment, a time for alignment. But let's just start with the moon. The full moon is always a time for release, completion. Because it's in Cancer, we look back at when was there a new moon in Cancer that would have started something that now is coming to fruition or completion or release. We can look at it one of two ways. There's always just the new moon in the calendar year, 6 months back or so. This past new moon in Cancer was July 5th of 2025. What were you starting then? What were you thinking about? What were you moving towards? Is there something with that that's now coming into frame, coming into release, coming into a place of maturation, coming into a place of wisdom with the themes of what's happening there? There's a longer lunar cycle, the gestational lunar cycle we can work with, which is a 27-month pattern. And in that, the new moon that started that cycle that's connected to this moon would have been June 25th, 2024. And that energy, that's that longer term kind of bigger projects or bigger life themes and changes that have been happening for you. And what was coming up for you then that now is at a completion point. And then in 9 months, actually, I looked this up for you. I think it's October 18th. Let me see if I remember that correctly. Clicking around to my moon cycles. Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure let's just call it mid-October. So mid-October, we have the final completion point. It's the last quarter moon that connects to this lunar cycle. So 9 months from now, we get the kind of full completion point when you're tracking that longer term June 25th, 2024 starting point. For me, it's a very specific storyline I can follow. And you can kind of look at a couple weeks before and after that new moon timing. It's not always exactly then. Sometimes it is exactly then. Anyhow, even if you're not tracking like that, just living through the experience and the energetics of this full moon happening earlier this morning in Cancer gives you a sense of the current kind of energy weather, energy temperature. What are the storylines happening? And so what we do is we look at what are all the energetics in astrology that are held in the resonance of this stamp of time, this moment of time of this full moon. The full moon, with that, what it is the sun opposing the moon. So the sun's light is completely and wholly reflected from the moon. So it gives us this chance to get all of it, like this feeling of taking in all of the energy that's in the astrology right now and feeling it. So what's the energy that's out there right now? Okay, I'm going to go a little more galactic today because I just feel anytime we have moons, especially full moons in water signs, there's so much psychic energy, and there's a chance for you to really attune to your own psychic gifts. And yes, you are psychic. And so there's a ton of water in this chart, in addition to the full moon being in Cancer, a water sign. But what's really exciting here is that the moon, which is at 13 degrees of Cancer, is just about a degree away from Sirius. Sirius, if you are more of an astronomy person, if you look to the night sky, especially in the winter here in the north, if you find Orion's belt and look down kind of to the left of Orion's belt, there's a really bright star, a whitish blue, kind of pulsing, the brightest star that we see in the sky. And that's Sirius. Sirius is, we consider in astrology to be like our spiritual sun. So it has this life-giving property, like our sun in our solar system, where it's constantly giving us warmth and light and something to focus on. But this is more in a spiritual realm because it's further out, farther away from our sun. And so it gives us this guidance that can come from the great beyond, however you orient to that, whatever your system connects to that is beyond the solar system. If it's a sense of whatever your spirituality is, you can think of the light of that being concentrated and brought to us through this moon because it's exactly conjunct where this full moon is happening in Cancer. That could mean more downloads, more psychic knowing, just that any of that liminal space, like that daydreamy space or that dropping into meditation or dream space that you go to where you travel while you're sleeping, that's just really keyed in right now. So it would make sense to me if you're picking up a little bit more, you're having more pings, having more dreams, that kind of energy is totally here. It is a great practice to be capturing that, writing down your dreams when you wake up, that kind of thing, taking note of even just the tiniest pings. You know, when you get those little hits that are like so random that you kind of just write them off. Definitely be tracking. Carry a little notebook with you. Have a note that, you know, something open in your phone where you keep your notes and track it because there's like little breadcrumbs coming in right now that I think are going to be really important as we get into the big energies of 2026, which it's really hard to talk about astrology at all right now and not be like, oh my God, you guys, 2026 is amazing. So I'm not going to go in that direction quite yet. You have the whole preview to tell you all about it, but we are in a huge shift this year. And this full moon is like the before. It's like a preview. It's like we're not even quite in the new year energies yet, but we're getting the support from Sirius, our spiritual sun, as we move into this new phase. I'm also really picking up on this chart has a lot of earth and water, and that's been sort of the old storyline. Like everything the past few years has been happening in earth and water signs, not everything, but a lot of the big astrology. And this year, everything shifts, everything moves to fire and air. I think it's fascinating. In my little world and realm of things, I've seen a lot of people talking about the year of the horse, which is that's more of a Chinese New Year timing. It's not a January timing, it comes later, but there's a lot of excitement. People are picking up the momentum. And I think that's why the archetype of the fire horse is coming in so strong because it is absolutely attuned to this year's energy astrologically, but we don't quite yet have the shift of everything into air and fire. In fact, in a couple of weeks, when we have the new moon in Aquarius, we will be in air. And after that, we have the full moon in Leo. We're going to start to have the eclipses too. And that's when the fire energy and the air energy really pick up and start working together. And that's when the horse can really move forward. If that's the symbology that you're working with for this year. Right now, though, like this moon sort of says, hang on, and that's kind of the oppositions happening here. These red lines in the chart between the sun and the moon and all these other planets. We have every single personal planet opposing the moon. So it's kind of like in the chart, it feels like the moon is holding all the personal planets. And the personal planets being Mercury, Venus, and Mars, as well as the sun and the moon. But in this case, we've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the sun all in the sign of Capricorn hanging down at the opposite end of the chart. Capricorn is very grounded, extremely grounded, but also very focused and purpose driven. And this is why we get the surge of that sort of New Year's resolution vibe in the early part of the year, because we are in the deep middle grounds of Capricorn when we hit that January 1st mark. So that's also why it's like back to business. Let's, get the plan, because we're really listening to the earth energies. And with all the personal planets being here, the rare part of that is that Mars is also here. Mars does not always travel along with the sun. Venus and Mercury always are pretty close to the sun, oftentimes in the same sign, maybe one sign ahead or behind, but real close to the sun. Mars is not like that. So the fact that Mars is also here really brings our attention to the Capricorn earthly energies. I like to take the spiritual expanded perspective when I think of Capricorn, and I like to think of the mystical creature of the sea goat, which can transform from a water creature to an earth creature and back. And so Capricorn has this ability to really transform energies or work with transformational parts of yourself here in reality, in the earth frequencies. So I think of this moon, like when I look at this chart, I hear it saying, what do you want to transform here and now? What emotions are guiding you? Emotions as wisdom, emotions as felt sense in the body that gives you your yeses and your nos and your directions. That is how this moon is really shining through for me. I also, again, bring it back to the connection with Sirius because Sirius, as our spiritual sun being conjunct the moon, really asks us to check in with our deeper spiritual parts, not just the earthly, what am I doing this year kind of energy, but how do I bring spiritual depth to that sense of purpose or direction that I have for the year. You can also look at this as where in your chart you have Cancer energies. If you're sort of not sure where this is showing up for you, look at where you have Cancer. Do you have any planets or points there? What houses do you have there? What other energies do you have in cardinal signs would be another way to look at this because Cancer is one of the four cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So that's going to be like a crisscross of energy that's going to be activated by this chart. Another big mark in this chart that is really exciting, and again, it's another one of these sort of like last, like like a closure energy before the space before we get to this new 2026 fire air surge, is this moon is being trined by the North Node in Pisces right here. And the North Node is not going to be in Pisces forever. This summer, in fact, the lunar nodes change. And already in February, with our first eclipse season of the year, we're going to get a little taste, a little preview of what the eclipses are going to feel like on the new axis that they will be moving into, which is the Aquarius and Leo axis. Interestingly, in 2026, we actually have eclipses in 4 different signs. So we have 2 in the old, where they've been the last year, which is Virgo Pisces. And then we have 1 in the new, and we get that kind of preview energy of the Aquarius Leo axis. So the fact that the full moon is trining the North Node in Pisces for the last time, the North Node will not be in Pisces again for 18 years. So this is sort of a, let's really use this time to be in alignment with our soul track, with our lifeline, with our karmic responsibilities here. That's what the North Node wants us to do. The North Node wants us to transform deeper spiritual energetics within ourselves to be clearer in our soul frequency and more aligned with our true soul path here. It's very much about the doing of your life through letting your spirit live out its experience and its consciousness through the daily experience of what you're doing, what you're bringing purpose to. How your soul is expressing itself here in a daily way is how you could also think about it. So this just feels like the last personal moment that we are having this really strong connection to the North Node before we get eclipse season and then the nodes change this summer. Eclipse season and the nodes changing can both have like sort of a, I want to say turbulence. That's not a great idea, but like there is a rockiness or a shakiness or like shift, like changes are afoot, which is always the case, but the eclipses and the nodes really kind of bring that home. They bring it to the realities of our life shift, whether like it or not, ready or not kind of energy. So there's something, even though this moon might feel intense or emotional or have like a potency to it for you, there's something coming through about how things are going to be or need to be shifting for you. So if you can orient your emotions, kind of harness them and harness the psychic energy that's really picked up right now with the water energies in this chart, and really bring that into the kind of knowing that guides you to self-trust every day. So you are trusting those like breadcrumbs I was talking about, those little pings, and like really paying attention to those, even if they don't make sense. There's like kind of no mental energy in this chart. It's like just trusting the flow, trusting the process, trusting the emotions as wisdom, feeling the sensation of emotion in the body and understanding it as quality, like yeses and nos and directionality, and understanding yourself through emotional presence. And there's just not a lot of mental energy or cognitive energy supported here in this chart. So it's kind of get out of your head, get into your body, get with nature. I'm looking at the Capricorn energies here, align with Sirius and that spiritual energy that's beyond what we can actually understand, but that gives us a sense of faith and hope and trust. Stay aligned with yourself with that North Node trine. There's a lot of uncovering of deep information that's here now too. Like keep going under the layers and out, like it's an inward and an outward at the same time. Like the more you go up and out, also go down and in. And the more you go down and in, also go up and out, and like keep that sense of evolutionary quality. What are you doing to continue evolving is a question that this chart asks. There's a lot of deep uncovering in there's I know like shadow is such an overused idea, but there is energy here that like the pot of gold here in this time is to bring more shadow to light. Like the more you can really connect with a deep, loving acceptance of all the parts that might feel darker or lesser known in yourself, or the places where shame has trapped some of your light. The more you bring that forward, the more you're going to be aligned in your soul energies and able to trust yourself without any of that sort of like mental clutter or there's something with like a boundary confusion, like doubting yourself, but it's like someone else's energy that's in the mix, something like that. There's a lot in this, the release of this full moon that's about energetically clearing out any kind of accidental merging or accidental agreements that you've sort of like come into a co-creation by accident almost with other energies or other people's ideas for you or for something shared, and coming back into trusting yourself. There's also like a really strong sense of ancient remembering, or like Cancer energies really connect us to what's been here before, what's already present in us that's ancient, historic, lineage related. But because of Sirius being there with the moon, I'm really feeling it like spiritual ancient timelines on the earth and what experiences you've had here in past lives that have connected you deeply with those kinds of energies. Um, there's a lot, if you want to go down the rabbit's hole of studying Sirius, there's a lot there. Go in the Egyptian, ancient Egypt direction. Um, but, less so the study and more the feeling and sensing and remembering that you can come to. I'm seeing what else is here. So, um, next month when we have the new moon, well, not next lunar moon, so I'm thinking about it. When we have the new moon in Aquarius, which is in just a couple of weeks here, it's really going to be the kickstart to this new wave of what 2026 is. So this, I just feel like we have 2 weeks to kind of settle into the integration of whatever we're picking up in this full moon. And we have some time in this kind of liminal zone where we can really sit with ourselves and get really clear and ready and centered. It's like centering rather than grounding, so that we're ready to move. We're ready to go. We're ready to initiate. We're ready to be initiated. There's going to be a lot of energy that's just like picking us up and moving us, ready or not, or like your will and your intention can be in the mix with the energy, but you have to be really clear and ready to let that. I just see it as zooming and flying. Like it's going to fly and take you where it will, but your work now, your clearing now, your alignment now will be how you can co-create with that energy and let it really move you to where your soul is wanting you to go. Okay, that is the full moon. I hope you have a beautiful couple of weeks until we get to this big new moon in Aquarius. I'm really excited to talk to you about that. Again, my free 2026 preview will be in the show notes. Please go grab that and get oriented. There's so much fascinating, amazing, powerful, beautiful, brilliant energy. There's some really sweet times this year too. Like this year is so much better. Like the hot tip is this year is better, definitely better. Last year was really hard for so many of us. The last several years have been hard for so many of us. There's some really positive, bright spots and sweet spots in the new year, but it's going to be intense and moving fast. So knowing where those are in the year is huge, and to kind of capture them and hold them for yourself. So go grab that guide. I would love to see you in my monthly membership here and now. It's just a great way to align with the energies and to start to really feel your way through your own intuition and living your life intuitively first. That's another one of the big energy themes for the next few years, is really being frequency and intuition first. So I would love to help you go deeper on that. I do still have like two, I think, slots open on my calendar for readings for the year ahead. So if you want to have a really personal take on what's happening for you, that would be a great place for us to connect. I'd love to see you there. Otherwise, I will see you soon on my next episode.